Welcome back to Rescue Bots Academy Season 2. In today's episode review, we're taking a look at Wizard of Botz. In this episode, the show pays homage to the classic film The Wizard of Oz. At the beginning of this episode, most of the other recruits have just gotten back from receiving their progress reports from Optimus Prime. That is, except for Whirl, who is clearly very nervous.
Can't you see I'm busy here?
Okay, sorry.
Look guys, this rotor socket isn't gonna polish itself.
She's been polishing that thing for 2 hours.
Hey, I'll get my review later, or maybe another time.
But they are soon called on an emergency, where it seems like they must herd a bunch of cows into a barn to protect them from an approaching tornado. Why does this feel like one part Twister reference and one part Wizard of Oz reference with how heavily desaturated this scene is? I mean, it almost looks black and white. Well, Whirl is too distracted thinking about her progress report with Optimus Prime, and she gets sucked up by the Twister and ends up landing in Oz! Ha ha ha! I knew it! I loved this!
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay, so Whirl finds this squirrel that sounds like Ratchet.
Professor? Ha! I ain't no professor, although I could be a professor of nuts!
Who tells her to follow the yellow tech road. Get it? It's like the yellow brick road.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow, 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 follow the yellow brick road.
I guess that means he's like the Munchkin equivalent. Although I'm surprised that they didn't just actually use the mayor of Griffin Rock as the mayor of Munchkin Land and just make him and a bunch of the other townsfolk tiny. Anyways, I hope that this means that the other recruits are going to be the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. Okay, I know who I'd pick to play who, but I'm not going to speculate too much. Otherwise, I might end up disappointing myself and dragging this video out too long. Let's just keep watching and find out if I'm right. So the Ratchet Squirrel turns semi-transparent? Okay, so this is also going to be a bit of an Alice in Wonderland homage, and that was a Cheshire Cat reference?
Hey! What's that behind you? My exit was seamless!
Whirl soon comes across Hotshot. Not dressed up like the Scarecrow or anything. He's just kind of hyperactive and just wants to race.
So, you want to race? I'll give you a head start, but I'm gonna win. I always win. Ready, steady, go!
Oh, see, there I go disappointing myself. Although I did think that Whirl would come across Hotshot first. But I guess we're not going all in on the Wizard of Oz ripoff? So is this more like a mental oversimplification of how Whirl sees Hotshot? Next up is Hoist. Again, not dressed as the Tin Man, but is when I thought Whirl would come across him. Like Hotshot, he seems to be obsessed with what he's known for, fixing things. Hotshot returns, and both he and Hoist join Whirl on her journey. Now it's really starting to shape up more like the Wizard of Oz. Especially after Hotshot is tackled, or more like T-boned, by our not-so-cowardly, not-so-lion-y Wedge. Well, I kind of thought that medics...
I don't get it. What's so funny about that?
Medics!
Oh, Medics is here too. Okay, I guess that means he's not going to turn out to be the wizard after all. I guess that'll be Optimus? That makes more sense. And it's also hilarious how Medics apparently needs a sense of humor. Kind of like how the original characters in Wizard of Oz wanted a heart, a brain, and some courage. Ah, I get it now. These are all based on what Optimus said in their reports.
The only thing Optimus Prime told me was,
be less concerned about getting over the finish line first every time.
who's that voice supposed to be? Optimus told me to focus on one thing at a time, not to try and do 2 things at once.
Well, Optimus said I'm perfect. Or did he say something about me needing to listen better?
I found Optimus to be both fair and constructive. He just had one note. I need to lighten up.
Oh wait, I just realized. Who's going to play the Wicked Witch? Will it be Chuck? Or Heatwave? Okay, let's keep watching.
When you're a part of a team, it's about getting everyone over the line.
Oh, he's doing Optimus Prime. But he is terrible at it.
Okay, I love that. So they finally arrive at the Emerald City, and the wizard is... Heatwave.
My ground bridge! Why, of course. Be my guest.
Whew! Thank you!
But wait, that's not Heatwave's voice. So the quote-unquote wizard lets them use his ground bridge, which I guess is like the balloon equivalent, and...
It was Chuck all along! That's funny!
Oh my god, I love it. I knew it was Chuck. Oh man, I love this episode. But then Maddox uses the wizard's controls. Ah, see, I was kind of right about that. And he accidentally destroys the ground bridge. Kind of like how the wizard in The Wizard of Oz accidentally left in the balloon without Dorothy. But Mr. Squirrel...
It's Professor Squirrel now. I got me a certificate online.
Sorry, Professor Squirrel tells her that she just needs to click her heels together and say that there's no place like home. Well, except for the clicking her heels part.
There's no place like the Academy. There's no place like the Academy. There's no place like the Academy.
And we finished the Wizard of Oz homage with Whirl waking up in her stasis pod and saying that you were there, and you were there, etc., etc. And I'm so glad that they tied up the whole thing about her worrying about her report by having Optimus show up at the last second and telling her that she aced it, just like I knew she would.
You aced it, Whirl. Just one note. Sometimes you overthink a situation rather than face it. However, I think you may have learned the lesson.
Oh man, I loved this episode. It was so cute. I loved all the Wizard of Oz references, and I'm not even a big fan of that film. I just love how they managed to mesh the show's characters and the movie's basic plot together, and how they pulled off this homage without it feeling forced or anything. I am a tiny bit disappointed that we didn't get to see the recruits dress up as the characters from the movie though. But I guess since there are 5 of them instead of 4, then it would have been kind of tricky. I mean, they did have both Wedge and Medic show up at the same time, so we couldn't have had 2 cowardly lions. Maybe Maddox could have been the quote-unquote Wicked Witch, but he's less so wicked and more like how Optimus told him just needed to loosen up. That would have been so cute to see all the recruits dressed up. Oh well. I still love this episode. Without a doubt, one of my favorites in the series. Like I said, I'm not even a big fan of the original Wizard of Oz movie, but I still think I would put down this episode as one of my top 5 episodes of the series. Now, if they did an episode that was one big Back to the Future homage, then not only would that be my favorite episode of Rescue Bots Academy, but I think that would be my favorite episode of Transformers. But who would play who? I mean, I'd love to see Whirl play Marty, but you know, Hotshot is probably a better fit for the character. Maybe Wedge could be Biff. Maybe Maddox could be George. You know what? I better stop myself before I get my hopes up. And this episode review has already gone on long enough anyways. So, as always, let me know your thoughts on this episode down in the comments. Remember to like, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff. And join me next time for another Transformers Rescue Bots Academy episode review.